catch anyone up who's just joining us in the video. Each of the students were working in their groups, just trying to go over questions that each of them had on the 5 things that this worksheet and the handbook pages 4 through 6 went over, which was the value feature, the zero feature, the maximum, the minimum feature, and the intersection feature. And now we are checking graphing calculator worksheet number 1. I'm going to move on. You guys ready for me to scroll down? I think it only went to 4, right? Take a couple more seconds to do it. If for any reason you're marking things wrong, you did have time to talk in your groups about how to do each of these features. You might have been doing them a little bit wrong or not quite going fully to the right or to the left, so maybe those are a few things you need to figure out. It's totally fine to write the correct answer in pen and then just compare tonight. Come tomorrow with any questions if you weren't able to figure it out. Does that make sense? Now, if you were doing like a big old pre-count homework assignment, I'd actually be taking questions, but since this is review and you have the handbook and you were able to collaborate, that's why I'm saying go back and try again and then continue with questions tomorrow in class or today after school. Sound good? A couple more seconds for those of you still grading. Yes.
If we get it wrong, we mark it wrong?
Yeah, I would mark it wrong and write the correct answer, and then tonight try to figure out what went wrong. Could have been something as little as not quite going to the right far enough or to the left far enough, or maybe you wrote down the guess answer and you forgot to hit enter and write down the exact answer.
So if we get it correct, we just leave it?
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much if you see colored pen on anything, like as far as homeworks, I mean, when I do it on quizzes and tests, obviously I'm taking off points, but when you see colored pen, I just want you to think, uh-oh, that's a weakness, I need to work on it. Does that make sense? All right, anyone still grading? 5 and 4, 3 and 2, 1 and done. Okay. Kiddos, let's go ahead and turn to page 7. We are in day 2, part 2 of our graphing calculator handbook. I want you guys to take a quick time out and look at the backboard. If you haven't, I don't know if I've actually pointed it out too much yet. Due by Friday are the forms with the signatures that you actually need to hand to me. If you have those, go ahead and grab them out right now. I'll just have you pass them up in a second to me. That's your syllabus paper or your math department letter signed, hopefully torn out. Also due by Friday, the 3 forms online. Can someone help me out real fast? Why are there 3 forms? How many are for you? 2 of them. A textbook form, and then the Let's Get Be Your Going, which I call the welcome form in the syllabus. And then what's the 3rd form? Parent or guardian. Parent or guardian needs to basically fill out the For Parents tab. I'll remind you guys tomorrow, not today, since tomorrow's chapter schedule too. Anyway, I'll have my website up tomorrow for us to look at it. But parents need to submit that one basically, just give me their email because Brentwood doesn't always have it right. Those 3 forms online, and then your book needs to be covered, and you should have your composition book, pencils, those sorts of things ready to go for Monday. Actually, Tuesday. We are having, if I did not announce it yesterday, our graphing calculator quiz on Monday. And if I didn't already say this, because seniors are leaving for their retreat on Friday, so then 5th period, half of them wouldn't be here, or like a third of them wouldn't be here, so I didn't want to mess them up. Plus, I'm going to be gone, so then we'll just have Friday be a review day, in a sense, and we're finishing up anything in the handbook or the worksheets, because there's one more coming to you today that we haven't been able to finish up. So it's going to be a review, asking questions, those sorts of things, studying the handbook. So a lot of people don't think to study for the first quiz on the calculator, but you really need to. Otherwise, you might make silly mistakes and lose points and start off with a bad grade, which we don't want. Or a bad grade for you, I should say. That could be lots of different grades depending on what you're kind of used to in math. Besides that, Friday's review, Monday's the quiz. We have today and tomorrow to try to get as much done as we can. So, our goal today, we're in page 7, we're talking about lists, stat plots, regressions, and then at the very end of the handbook, we kind of go back into some more mathy type things and less numerical analysis type things. So, we're going to work with the stat plots today. I'm going to try and do basically as much with you as possible because there is a lot. There are a lot of buttons, there are a lot of words on these pages, and if I can demonstrate it to you, it'll make it a lot easier. Those of you guys that are like, I got this, Cool, you can work ahead of me. I don't totally mind, as long as when I check an answer or when I show something, just make sure you got it right. Does that make sense? Cool. There is a second calculator worksheet as well, but I'm not going to hand it out to you yet. And if you even look at homework tonight, do I mention calculator worksheet number 2 at all on the board? No. Reason being, I actually want you guys to finish your way, make your way through the rest of the handbook tonight. And then tomorrow, once you finish the handbook, what's the last page? You actually might not need to go all the way to the end. Does anyone find the end of all of the stat stuff? 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, can I still stat part? 11. We at least want to get through page 10 today. We at least want to get through page 10, hopefully all together. And then tonight, you guys just have to make your way through what's left, 11, 12, 13. So don't worry about the second worksheet. I'm actually going to wait to hand it out until tomorrow unless you really want it. It'll be up here in the front table. You can pick it up. Problem being, there are lots of tables. There's a lot of data. And it's not as easy as look at it, plug it into your calculator, and go. You have to actually think about some of the questions, which I know it's not. We don't want to think about it, right? So that's why I'm waiting on this one so we can go over this worksheet tomorrow. But once again, if you guys want to try and get ahead, you have more time tonight than you might tomorrow night, etc. I will go ahead and just have it up here on the front table, but I'm not going to hand it out to everyone. All right, here we go. Where's the stat button? Right underneath delete button, right? Let me close that out because I actually have this saved somewhere already. Even though there is the list right above, where are we going? Number 8, is that right? Or is it number 9? Oh, it's number 9. Give me 1 second to get out of this. Okay. Even though there is that list feature on your calculator, there is a list button. If you want to make a list, you do not go to the list feature. You actually go to the stat feature. It's something that always confuses people. And whenever you're trying to put information into your calculator, you're always trying to edit. Okay? So whether you're trying to put in a matrix, some of you guys saw matrices. No, you didn't teach matrices last year, did you? You guys remember learning? No. Okay. Never mind. No matrices last year. You'll learn them this year. It's okay. But whether you're trying to put in lists, or in the future, when we see matrices, whether you're trying to put in a matrix, you always want to hit edit. So we go to stat first, and then we hit edit because we're trying to put information in. Now, I already put mine in to save time. You guys can see the list here. The struggle, and the reason why I put in number 9, even though there isn't anything to show. So for number 9, you guys don't need to write anything. If you want to put a little check done on it, that's totally fine as well. But there's nothing to show because kids would just skip all of this and not read it at all. And when they get to number 10, they're like, what am I supposed to do? Well, if you follow the directions and put number 9's lists in your calculator, then you would have known what to do. So if you have not yet already, for the rest of, I think, these pages, you need to put in list 1 and list 2 that's right next to number 9 on your handbook. Go ahead and get these lists into your calculator just by typing in the numbers, hitting enter, and then going over to the next list and putting those down as well. One common thing that tends to happen, accidentally, sometimes people delete whole lists and just L2 disappears. So if anyone is missing L2, just go ahead and quickly raise your hand. I'll come by and help. Is anyone missing the second list or the third list? Okay. It happens every now and then. I was just making sure. Now, we did skip over a lot of wording, guys, on page 7. There are things how you can clear the entire list and not have to hit delete, 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 which if you were in like a statistics class putting in all sorts of data, you might not want to hit delete 120 times. So then the clear list feature it talks about up above might be good for you to know. But otherwise, it's not super important. This information right here that we skipped is just another way of putting into a list. Like if you had like data that was written horizontally, maybe it'd be easier to put it in this way. You could double check all of your numbers before you put it in, as opposed to typing them in the table and having to scroll back up and double check. But once again, this is just another way of putting in like you're doing right now, so it doesn't matter in the sense of which one you use. You guys have the list in there, okay? Okay. One more thing just really quickly, if you are putting in a list and if you don't have all of the list 1 variables match to values in list 2, it's going to get really mad at you really fast. So make sure that you, whenever you finish a list, every single pair should be complete. Okay, that's number 9. That's pretty easy, right? The directions go on to say, hey, learn how to clear your lists. Oh, sorry, it was below, not above. But if you clear your lists, that's what you're going to have to do. Type them all over again. So, read, understand. There are features where you can, and now they're going ahead and putting stat and 4 and second and 1. Just realize those buttons are corresponding to actual things in your calculator. If I were you, I would not actually hit enter and get the done, or else you're going to have to just type them all over again. But when they are saying things like, from the home screen, remember second mode, stat, number 4, they're saying go to the option, number 4, right? Now they're saying second, and then 1. Did you guys notice what comes up when you do second 1? Now there are multiple ways of doing that, but this is a shortcut. If you do ever have to write down L1, L2, L3, maybe some of you didn't notice that they actually are the alternative options for like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. The other way to get there, I think, would have been to go to list, right? You could have also gotten there by second stat, and you could have actually hit the L1. Just takes a little more time. But both ways get you the L1. But once again, I would not hit enter, and if you do, no big deal. Just go back into your stat, enter, and just put it back in your list, because they'll be gone if you run either of these. But let's go on down to number 6. Alright, how does this say, just turn your stat plot on? Where do we find stat plot in our calculators? Okay. Does anybody remember the shortcut? Well, let's do that first. Second y equals. Wait a minute, right now? Second y equals? Okay, that works. Now what? All the plots are, and I want to turn something on, right? Do you see why I'm going to select number 1? Well, actually, or 2 or 3. I haven't done any manipulations of this. Must have reset. What you want to just make sure is whichever one you choose, it doesn't really matter. I just usually choose the first one. It should have the list that you put the data in. So if you put data in like list 3 and list 4, you would have to change these in order to make it reflect what you want. But as long as it says L1, L2, that's what I want. So I can hit enter. I can turn it on just by once again selecting with my arrows, right? Go on the on, select that. I could change like the style of the graph, and if you took a stats class, then you would probably, maybe in college, maybe here next year, you can actually get it back. You might change like the boxes that show the points to the little X's or the little dots, which you can barely see. You can change your list to be like list 3 or list 4, list 4, list 5, whatever you need, etc. But that will go ahead and graph it as long as I just hit enter. Right? Does anyone remember this shortcut though? I'm going to go back, second y equals. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I did show you a shortcut yesterday. I just didn't explicitly, no, I think I explained it, but you might not have understood what I was saying. Where's the shortcut that does not make you go through all of those steps? Yeah. Exactly. You guys see how all your plots are turned off? Plot 1 was the one that we were talking about a second ago. If I go select plot 1, ooh yeah. And if you go back to your second y equals the stat plot, it is turned on. So, once again, what I showed you yesterday about highlighting plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, going up, you can highlight, you can select or deselect. If it's deselected, it will not show any information from your lists. If it is selected, it's going to go looking at the list for information. So if your lists were all empty, it's not going to know what to do. It's going to say error, and it's going to freak out a little bit. So once again, these can get turned on really easily, even if you don't mean for them to, or if someone borrows your calculator, etc., things like that. But if you want them turned on, just go up, select it, cool shortcut, and there it is. Does anybody know a zoom that's associated with the stat plot? Zoom stat. Now, why did this show up really nice and neat? without me having to worry about zooms or manual window changes or any of that stuff. Yeah, what were the values in those tables? They're little? Yeah, they were like in between -10 and 10, right? So my 10 by 10 fit. But what if they were like in the hundreds or in the thousands, like some of the ones in the worksheet you'll get tomorrow? Is that going to show up in 10 by 10? No way, Jose. So it's kind of nice. There's a zoom. Zoom. Oh, it's not even showing yet. I think it's 8 or 9. There you go. Zoom 9. Now, do I perfectly like this window? Not exactly, but it did find the data for me, and it did make a good picture of it. So then if I wanted to, I can see the x-axis. I can't see the y. So personally, I would go to the window and say, you know what? Since I can't see the y-axis, I see this one goes from a positive to a positive. I always like going from a negative to a positive. That way I can see my axes because the zeros are showing. And that would be a great window. Which I think is about, oh hey, that's pretty close, huh? It's pretty close to the one that we wanted to get. So I would say for number 10, that you should probably write down zoom stat. Make a little note. Zoom stat is a great one to use whenever you have lists to find the information, because it might be way off in Timbuktu somewhere. And I guess you could zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. But if you zoom out too much, it might just be a little dwarf and you might not even see it. Because it's all the data is grouped together. Zoom stat, and then if you want to manually adjust the window a little bit to see your axes, remember just make sure you have something on the negative, something on the positive for the mins and the maxes. That's my little hint. Okay. Pause real quick. Is anybody's calculator not cooperating? Did we get them all to work? I have a couple of questions, right? Good. You guys are doing a great job of helping each other in your groups. Okay. What's next? Oh, never mind. I talked about the shortcut. Go team. What's a regression? Okay, actually, did you actually talk about what a regression is? What's a regression? You guys remember from algebra 2? Don't tell me the definition, just what does it do? Okay, let's do it together real quick. Question. When you look, and it should still be on your calculator screen, at the stat plot, what kind of function does it look like? Parabola, line, sinusoid? It's the line, right? I want you guys to find this menu, follow the options or the buttons at the top. Hitting the stat button, and then it goes over one, right? Do you see anything that says linear or seems to say linear in this list? Yeah, lin red. Lin stands for linear. Red stands for regression. And hey, look, doesn't that kind of look like mx plus b? Yeah. Which is the standard, or not standard, sorry, slope-intercept form of a line. Huh. I wonder if it has something to do with finding an equation for me. Go hit number 4. And I think it's technically number 11 anyway. Is that what number 11 is asking us to do? Hit number 4, hit enter. Question, what does this mean? It gives me the value for A, which needs to plug into the equation. It gives me the value for B, which needs to plug into the equation. So the linear regression is y equals negative 2x plus b. That's your answer for number 11, I think. Is it as easy as that? Yeah. Y equals negative 2x plus 8. That's what you guys would write down for number 11. Don't write down the ax and the b. Actually fill in. Just do your quick substitution. So I have gotten an equation of a line. So you guys were saying earlier, a is the slope, because you're totally right. It's in the m spot, right? B is the y-intercept. And then to get a full understanding of what's going on, we can go ahead and go to our y equals and say, hey, let's check this guy out. Negative 2x plus 8. How does that correspond to our data? Now, if our data wasn't exactly perfect, if it didn't show a perfect trend, there would be some points that would be off this line. But if it is a perfect trend, which is very rare to actually happen in real life, but that's okay. If they gave us data that did follow a perfect pattern, this line should go through each of the points. Either way, it should be a good representation in general of what's going on. When we graph, what do you guys notice? What's the regression do? Finds the equation of the function that might not go through every single point. This is a very ideal of like a mathematician made that table. They were like, oh, let's follow a pattern, and it was the perfect rise over run that was exactly the same. So it did go through that data perfectly. But have you guys ever seen, I think you saw at least a little bit of stats last year, didn't you? If you see some sort of analysis of data, there's usually like a clumping all together, and it might have like little correlation or a lot of correlation. But the data might be all over. Like there's all kinds of points all over the place. But in general, it's a downward trend. So the line would, in a sense, kind of go through the middle. It would be a generalization of what's going on. So I don't want to say a regression always goes through the points. It doesn't always go through all the points. Otherwise, sometimes it'd be like doing this as it's going down. But it's a generalization of what's going on. In this one, it happened to go through all the points. You know what? I feel like number 12 was asking you to do that. Was number 12 asking you to do that? Oh, there you go. Number 12 is saying, that's what happened when you graph y equals negative 2x plus 8. And so all you gotta do is, just go straight through. But I just wanted to let you guys know, once again, even though this one connects every single data point, it's only because this is a table that specifically fit that entire line. Sometimes there will be points all over the place, and the line is just kind of in the middle, in a sense, without being too statistical on you. I need you guys to write down a new vocab word real quick. Right next to this box. I want you to write down superimpose. Impose. Superimpose. You're not going to see it in the handbook, but you are going to see it in the worksheet that some of you might pick up today. When it says to superimpose the regression onto the stat plot, it just means graph it. Superimpose, just to graph it, just to get it into the data, just to show it along with the data. So when you guys come across the word superimpose, come back to your handbook. If I were you, just circle graph. Superimpose, graph, same thing. Sound good? Hey, cool beans, kiddos, we got to the end of, and we still have 2 minutes. Awesome. Let me go ahead and do this for the rest of the class. I really don't want to hand out this worksheet and give it to everyone because some of you will get very confused very quickly in the worksheet. I'd rather take a little bit of time to talk through it tomorrow. So instead of handing it out, let me go ahead and just give you the most common mistake made on this entire worksheet. Well, two. Probably the first most common mistake, or I should say the most common dilemma with this worksheet, is not correctly stating the data. Let me show you an example. The very first problem on this worksheet starts and it's talking about, I think, years and populations. They're actually applying people, I don't say population is not others. And they put 1980, they put 1981, they put 1982, because they're talking about years, right? And then they give different data like 81.1, and then 107.7, etc. Question. If they say, let the year 1980 be 0, and the year 1981 be 1, etc., what are they doing and why? Why would you make 1980 0? If you had to graph 1,980 and there were only a little clumping of years, what would you have to do with your window to get there? Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Your axis is way over here and you're like way up here. Then bit of data. What are they doing? They're saying, let's forget this whole 1,980. Let's just say 1980 is the beginning. 1981 is 1 year later. 1982 is 2 years later. What would 1985 be? 5 years later, right? Just makes our data be nice and centered around the axis. So that's something to keep in mind. what you guys need to do tonight, worry about this big old worksheet that's kind of crazy and a little confusing. No, we're going to talk more about it. You guys will all get it tomorrow. What I do want you to do is play around with the rest of the features in the handbook, and they should be a little bit easier after the staff class. Sound good? Cool. If you guys have papers for me to have, or the signatures, those sorts of things, give them to me on the way out. The imaginary bell has just rung. Go to chapel. I'll see you guys later.